someone who had to take a step back because life is just lifing, meaning maybe you got COVID and you gave that love to everybody in your family. Maybe a family member, an elderly parent needs your support. Maybe just some things in your house broke, or maybe you just need a mental break and you've had to step away. Well, then you want to stay tuned for this show because we're going to be talking about just life, the real stuff that people don't really share on social media. Maybe we see a bit of it, but then in the background, it's like everything is going wrong. My guest tonight, many of you may know her, maybe you don't, but she is a podcaster, a live streamer, a coach, and a beautiful person. I am so excited to have her. Her name is DeeJae DuRante. But before I bring her on, my name is Shree, and I'm a video marketing producer. And I love helping others get on camera so they can create videos, go live, even build their social media presence. But I also love interviewing entrepreneurs from all over. So if you're joining in, definitely share in the comments where are you tuning in from and what is something that you are excited for this holiday. So let me bring up my host or my co-host, my guest, DeeJae for the day. How's it going over there?
Hey, it's going so good. I'm so excited to be here with you and share this time. I'd love to be your co-host. I love that.
You know what? We're going to do it. We're going to say you're the co-host for the night. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Oh.
So let me ask you, what is something like a memory of yours that you have for the Christmas time? Fond memory. Like it could be from when you were a baby, like not baby, but maybe a child, teenage, or even recently with your kids.
I mean, there's nothing better. And since I'm a mom, there's nothing better than watching your kids open up those gifts. I think I love being thoughtful and I love buying things with the intention of knowing that they're going to enjoy that and it's for them. And I've thought about it and I've really given it a lot of consideration. So watching their faces, there's nothing better than that. And really seeing that you've taught them well to be gracious and to be appreciative of what they're getting.
Absolutely. We have John and we have Mackenzie and we have Sima and G and we have here Yolanda. Thanks for joining in. So if I was to think about a fond memory, I'm just like you. I love seeing my daughter open up her Christmas gifts when she was younger. Now it's more since she's at college. She'll come home and hang out with me. She may not think that I'm too boring. Hey, G, wonderful to see you here. So let's get into this.
Yeah.
Now, you've been a live streamer. You've been a podcaster. So I always wondered what got you into this.
Ooh, okay. This is 3-year throwback right here. COVID was about to hit. I already had in the back of my mind I wanted to be doing something. I didn't know if it was like blogging or podcasting. I just knew I wanted to create something to put out there. And my background's mental health. My background is just truly being an advocate for those with disabilities, mental health issues that are trying to get through life. And so I knew that as in my career, I was already helping those individuals. I knew that that's what I wanted to talk about and wanted to really share those stories. So when I found live streaming, I knew that was it. I knew that, okay, we've got to share these stories so people can really understand that there's more people out there that can share these stories and that we're not alone, because that's just such a common thread when it comes to individuals and all the hardships we go through and how we tend to keep things private and how society sees things, a lot of these things as taboo, or that's things we don't talk about, or that's more of a private thing. So I was just like, no, we share our stories. Why not? It's what makes us who we are, all those experiences and these things that we go through. So that's how I knew.
Well, I love that you brought up that you wanted to give a space to talk about mental health, to talk about you're not alone, to talk about that these things are normal. And guys, we're going to get into this conversation and we want to hear from you, the questions.
Yeah.
There were a few comments that came in before the show, so I'm definitely going to get to them. But I wanted to give it, just to find out, like, why did you start going live? Everybody always wants to know, like, why did you start going live? Well, because for me, it was to build visibility. For DeeJae, it was to give a platform for others to feel like they're not alone. And especially, like you said, this time of the year, it's a really beautiful time because you see the lights, there's all this giving, but at the same time, it's also hard times because you might have lost somebody special, or you feel like you have all of this success, but you don't have anybody to share it with because you feel like the people around you are not really there for you. So let's get into a little bit like, you haven't really been on the platform. Like, let's be real. We haven't seen you post. We haven't seen you go live. We haven't seen you on Twitch. I mean, we're looking under a
Ooh.
rock, under a blanket. What's
Where's
been going on with you?
Where's DeeJae been? What's been going on? Can't see you. Well, life, right? Life happens. And I think this is important because if I'm out there to talk about these stories and help other people get their stories out, you can't shy away from sharing your own stories and what you're doing and what you're going through yourself. And even though it's not me personally going through it, it's still a loved one, right? So in this case, it's my father. Back in September, they discovered a brain tumor and they had to do some brain surgery to take it out. And so we've been kind of, I'm the oldest, so let's start there too. As the oldest, you have a sense of responsibility that you want to be there, and I want to help my dad in any way I can. As entrepreneurs and those that work from home, we feel like we have a little bit more flexibility as opposed to maybe other, like my sister or my brother that have full-time jobs where they have to be there. So for me, it was just kind of easy to kind of step up and say, okay, Dad, I'm going to help you out, help my mom out, and take care of my grandma because, yes, I still have a beautiful 94-year-old grandma. So in that situation, I just kind of had to decide what I could handle, what needed to be done, and really where those priorities lied. And my dad was really the priority at that point in time, and also taking care of my grandma.
You gotta love grandma. We gotta love taking care of our loved ones. And I can really relate to that, having to take a step back, because back in September, my dad got COVID because I gave it to him. And, he ended up going to the hospital. He didn't come home until 2 weeks ago. And even when he came home,
Wow.
he could walk, but he couldn't sometimes he would sit down and he couldn't get up. And I would physically have to lift him up. So these are things that I wasn't really talking about because you're in the moment. But sometimes, if you're not ready to share, don't share it. And you don't have to give and show everybody what you're going through. It's what you're comfortable with. Even in your business, you could be struggling right now. But I will say this. It's when you take time to see what you've accomplished over the year that you realize that all of these moments are just moments. Even though, like, if you take, like, DeeJae, think about it. You got to take a step back to spend time with your dad. This whole time you've gotten to spend time with your dad. If you were to look in the beginning of the year until now, the quality time that you got with him in these last few months, is it compared to anything in the beginning of this year?
No. And the relationship I've built with my grandma, because she is a sharp one. Okay. And we crack jokes, and now I'm her favorite granddaughter. So I'm really, really happy. She's like, oh, when's DeeJae coming home? When she's coming over, I can't wait to see her. So, even in all the stuff that's going on, you have to appreciate these little jewels that you find, like, wow, I didn't really realize what I was missing out in this relationship that I could have had with my grandma all along. So that's just one of the things that have been a true blessing, and one of those things that nothing can really compare to, because my grandma's only going to be here for so long. My dad's only going to be here for so long. And so right now, if that's the priority and that's where my focus needs to be, I'm okay with that. And I'm going to accept that. And this kind of leads into some other things, right? As a mom and my little one who's 8 years old and his needs, and just knowing that eventually he's just going to turn into an adult and I'm not going to be able to baby him like I can right now. And so again, it goes back to what are the priorities? What do I need to be doing and what is fulfilling? And so it is fulfilling to be able to provide for my family and do what I can. And it is fulfilling to be able to spend that quality time with like my son. So I'm okay with taking a hiatus for a couple months and just knowing that this is still here. I'm not going to stop live streaming. I'm not going to stop coming back when called upon. Thank you, 3. And there's no reason to lie. There's no reason to hide. And there's no reason to have shame about choosing these types of priorities or deciding what you feel is best for you and your family at the time.
Absolutely. Don't feel afraid. Like, even myself, when I think about it, I took a step back. I wanted to take a step back, and this was June and July. I was spending time with my daughter. I mean, I was just being there with her. So while many will be like, hustle culture is so important, sometimes being in the moment is most important. And you could still get clients. You could still, like, if you've been doing the reps, going out, doing their outreach, meeting people in person, things start to just kind of like happen because it just takes time. But I do want to say thank you to Kenny, who is on my YouTube page, which I do stream to because I couldn't stream to it before. So if you are ever on YouTube, definitely subscribe and also support. And I know if you're having trouble leaving a comment, if you're on your phone on LinkedIn, it's being real wonky. So I don't know the workaround, but I will encourage you, because this is streaming to YouTube, to Facebook. We are also on Twitter. So there's all these options to catch the show. Make sure we get your comments. And Shri, what are you doing here? I want to be here. And yes, happy belated birthday to you, DeeJae. I mean, I was telling DeeJae, I was like, I was late telling her yesterday, but I was like, we're celebrating today because it's her birthday. And then Garen's giving a shout out to our nice backdrops, and we have to. So let me ask you this. Now, you were doing something before you took a hiatus, but what are you currently going to be focusing on when you do make that comeback?
Well, I'm going to be live streaming again, that's for sure, because I miss these conversations. I love learning about people, encouraging people to share their stories. So the show's going to be back. I'll be back hopefully weekly. And that's one of those things, like, you have in your mind like a set schedule, you have a certain expectation you set for yourself, and part of you is like, okay, got to be realistic, right? Is weekly going to be the thing? All right. What's it really going to take to at least fulfill that and to be consistent? Because, hey, listen, we all know as creators, consistency is key, which it is. Absolutely. So, I got to figure out what's going to be good for me so I can be consistent, given that I'm still, working and helping my dad and still taking care of my abuela and all those little things. But I still have those goals and I still have those passions, and all that doesn't stop running through me. That makes me who I am and makes me want to be the voice that I want to be. So next year, I'm still going to be at it, and you got to keep going. You can't give up. You can't just toss in the towel because life happens, or even though your priorities may change, that doesn't mean that those other priorities you had previously are still not there, and that they're still not like that now that they're discarded. So I'm coming back. I'm going to have my show. I'm going to have guests. I'm still going to be talking about mental health and disability and the things that really affect people in their lives, and that we all got to keep going in one way or another. And it's okay that we go through the hard times, and that you're not really alone, because there's going to be people there to support you, and you never know who's really there to support you. That's always, I think, one of the best surprises, is just really realizing, like, wow, I didn't really realize you were there all along, right?
Right. I mean, I find that sometimes these pivots are what we need because it helps us refocus and get us more in tune of how we can bring this to our clients
Mhm.
or our shows. Because if you think about it, you're still doing the teaching aspect and working with the students. They're just not, the age group that you would want to work with, but right now that's the age group. And we have a few people that have joined us. I want to say hi to Florence. Thanks for joining
Aw,
us.
love that
She's actually goes
picture.
live on Instagram. She has all these brands she works with. I love the
Wow.
bag she showed earlier. And then G is saying, glad that you mentioned there are issues to leave comments. I've been having some lately on these live streams. Yes, love you back. And you're not the only one. Usually I'm during the show, I'm like dropping comments, but I'm having to do a different way. And G is saying, so important that you take care of yourself. I always feel badly for people who overextend and then have to stop, then apologize for it. Life happens and it's okay. And it's moments like this that tell me, like, because I was that person too. And it took me to be able to say, it's okay to step back, because
Yes.
we feel bad for stepping back. But if you look at all of these people who are, let's say, billionaires, millionaires, they take steps back. They are not running their business as much as you think they are. They got it to that point, but now they take a step back, because you should be able to, remove yourself and things should work smoothly. Because if it's not, something's wrong.
Yeah. And you already mentioned hustle culture, which I think it's that looming and pending belief system that we should all fall for. And it's just not the case. At least I don't. That's just not me.
Well, we did not plan this, by the way. We did not plan to wear similar colors or our backgrounds. Like, it was totally, we walked into this, and Florence is even talking about, you notice, yeah, you both have red on, my favorite colors. This is actually pink. This isn't red.
And that
And
looks so couture, girl. I love
it's
that.
express.
What? Oh,
That's
that's so
it,
pretty.
express. So I want to show that KD is saying hello to Robert. He's saying hello to Garen. He's saying hello to
Aw.
G because he's over there on YouTube. So if you want to join him, you can. Okay. So let me ask you this. Now, you haven't been posting on LinkedIn. Do you even have some kind of strategy to help you get back and have the rhythm, that the algorithm will pick you up?
Ooh, God, that's so hard. So, I mean, you got to build one. You got to have a strategy. That's so important. And I think it's okay to take it slow. I think it's okay once you take a step back. It's okay to step back up to the plate slow. I would never encourage anybody to be like, you got to be at it 5, 6, 7 times a week. It's okay. So even if you're at least like kind of slowly putting something up, that's okay. And I think it's different for everybody. So this is where we can talk about like being solopreneur, entrepreneur, having a team, just being like business owner in that sense, and that's where everyone has a different strategy. So me as a solo, I can only do so much given the situation, and that's okay. I have to be okay with that. Someone that has a team that they can kind of be like, hey, this is what I need, or can hire a VA, or can hire a social media manager or whatnot, that's great too. So you really got to think of the strategy that's going to work for you. So for me, and I am like small part-time job, which that kind of helps, right? So I can be able to hire someone at some point to help me with those tasks and really be able to be consistent with that strategy and not feel the overwhelm and the pressure to perform. And so again, you have to kind of give and think thoroughly your situation, what your resources are, what you're really capable of, and what's true to you. And not, I love what G said, overextend yourself. And then, because what happens, it's like, then the first slip up, you're like, oh my gosh, you start feeling guilt, or you're just like, I can't do this, and that can take you in a totally spiraling different direction. So for me, I've always just been an advocate for like take it slow, one step at a time, do what you can do. Don't go above and beyond and set the marker so high that it's above your means or above the reality of the situation. So, for me, 3 times a week, I'll be happy with that. I'll be proud of myself, given, again, the situation with work and family and managing a business as a solo creator, solo person.
I would love to know from everybody, how many times a week do you post? Share that in the comments, or if you're listening to this on the podcast, you can leave a, sharing what is it that you do. Because
Mhm.
whenever I work with clients in their social media strategy
Mhm.
and they're coming back, the one of the few posts that we always talk about is do the introduction post. I know it seems
Mhm.
like the redundant post, but it actually is a great post to do because it kind of lets people know who you are, what you do, and then also kind of gives a little bit of what is something new that we didn't know. And
That's it.
then it's also thinking about what does this customer journey look like? So when you think about your post, regardless of, in some cases, if you're on Instagram, you would have to really, for the first 30 days, really have to inject content for you to actually be picked up. Only because that's the way that app works. Same thing with TikTok. And it might be
Mhm.
that if you have been dormant for so long, you might have to start over again. But going back to at least now, if let's say you want to focus on LinkedIn, 3 times a week is really good. That's a
Mhm.
good start. And if
Mhm.
one of the times is going live, that's even better because now people can talk to you, they can ask questions, and you want to also take them on the journey. Like, what does this journey look like? Okay, when you meet someone, you first introduce them. You introduce yourself. Then the second thing is what's a common question that you get asked in what you do. So whether it's about live streaming, for me it's live streaming, podcasting, and what kind of post should you put? DJ could be about anything mental health related. And then the next one is about your offer. What is it that you do? How do you help people? And so when you start to think about the customer journey, you start to recognize what kind of posts you should be putting out. And don't get caught, like DJ said, you don't have to do everything. But if you take time to, you can take one day and just write
Mhm.
out the content, then another day to record the videos. And obviously, if you go live, then, it makes it even easier. So that's just for any of you who are thinking about what kind of strategy should I use to make the comeback. This is something that I would recommend to any client of mine who's, let's say, DJ, who had to take a step back and coming back. And then once you get a hang of it, you want to see what does consistency mean to you, because if you're okay with 3 posts and you can engage for 30 minutes every day, you're actually doing better, because the engagement piece is what's going to get people to want to know more about you. So I hope that this was helpful. But
Solid.
we have G is saying, DJ, I posted recently about the very first live-a-thon experience when we were both still newbies. I'm blown away by how much you've accomplished since then. You deserve that break. The love is here for you always. Of
Aw,
course. And
so
then
sweet.
we have KDJ saying, G, may you have, oh, he's letting her know, have a happy holidays, because she said happy holidays to you. And yes, next week, if you're in the Houston area, we are having a get together. We are meeting at a restaurant. So if you're in the Houston area and you would like to be part of meeting other creators that who are on LinkedIn but live in Houston, you could just message me. So, DJ, I want to get back to you and
Oh, okay.
say, what is one new year, something that you're looking forward to for 2024?
Growth always growth, being open, reflecting on what I did this year, how I can be better next year, looking for resources, looking for tips, looking for wonderful people that I want to surround myself with that I know that are going to continue to support me like I would want to support them. I mean, all those things just to continue to grow in a healthy way. I think that's, and be that person that you want to be for others and the role that you right. So if you're a leader, or if you want to be their coach, or if you want to be their producer, or if you want to be whatever that fulfill that role is, I think that that's important. But for me, it's always growth. I'm always looking to grow, and I you got to look internally, you got to look inward, and sometimes that's just really, really scary. But now's the perfect time to do it because, the new year's going to be here, and everyone has a fresh start the new year. So now's the time.
Absolutely. If you haven't wrote out what you want to accomplish in 2024, that means actually reviewing 2023. One of them could be mine. I will share is I'm going to stop playing small. I have a problem with not recognizing my own accomplishments. And that is something that I need to stop doing, because when I think about it, there has been a lot that has been accomplished by my agency, and I'm not out here showing it to you guys. And I need to, because we've done a lot for clients, and these are things that make us unique. And I extend that to you. If you're playing small, don't carry it into 2024. You don't deserve that. And I would love to hear from you guys if you're watching the replay or the live or even on the podcast. What is something you want to carry? What is it that you don't want to carry into 2024, and what is it that you're going to start doing in 2024? So this is what we're going to do, DeeJae. We're going to stop this conversation and we're going to ask everybody to come and join us on Instagram, where we're going to continue this conversation, have more chats, bring the questions. And we have G says, I have this crazy, amazing optimism for 2024. Seriously, I'm excited and not entirely sure why, but I am thinking fab things for self and my incredible peeps next year. I feel the same way for you, because there's a lot in store. There is a lot in store, and I love it. Yes. And G, stop playing small. Just stop.
go golden next year, like more golden than golden. G, like you got this. It's and she's brought up like 3 years ago, like how much we've come and how far we've gone, and we every year we continue to grow and get better, and we realize what we're good at and what we're not so good at, and where we need a little bit more help, and where it's okay to say, you know what, I need to find someone to help me with this. And that's okay. I mean, I just love it. I think that just goes back to it. So yeah, not playing small. That's a great one too, Sri. And
don't play small. And then I'm dropping my link so that if you're thinking about you need help with your social media, or you need help with, hey, I just want to work on getting going live on my videos, definitely book that call. I do drop a new episode every week on my podcast. So if you don't know about it, it's Adventure of an Entrepreneur. It's Journey of an Entrepreneur switched into a podcast so that you guys can listen to it. I want to make sure I'm not missing out. Happy holidays to you too, G. And thank you so much to all of you who have joined in. So now we're going to go over to Instagram. But until my next live, which is next week with another wonderful guest. Thank you, DeeJae. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Good to see you.